I remember some
Alright, in 3 then?
stuff.
3, 2, 1, go. Alright, hello everyone, this is Dustforce, a platformer about ninja janitors. I'm not particularly good at my job because I'm gonna be skipping most of the dust in order to go fast. I've got quite a lot of abilities to my disposal. I've got a jump, I've got a air charge that I can spend on a mid-air jump or a mid-air dash. You just say I already have a dash. Then I can walk on walls, I can cling to ceilings, a whole bunch of stuff. I can use all of this in order to get to the end of the stage as quickly as possible, and the end of the stage is indicated by a end trigger. As soon as I hit it, I can either wait for the score screen or exit out. Needless to say, I'm gonna exit out as much as I can. I also have some fighting tools at my disposal. I have a light attack, which does 1 damage, a heavy attack, which does 3 damage, and a super attack that you get after cleaning up 100 pieces of dust. For the sake of this tutorial, it's just gonna give it to me normally, since there isn't actually enough dust here. And it's a giant area of effects kind of attack. I can clean a lot of stuff. So in the third tutorial for this, the game teaches you a couple of other things, like how to press dash before you jump in order for extra speed, and how defeating enemies gives you your mid-air charge back, so you can do another mid-air jump or a mid-air dash. It also teaches you slope boosting, which is the main way to gain speed in this. When you dash, when you hit the slope, you gain a lot of speed, and you can carry the speed all the way by having a good dash rhythm. Mashing is not an option. If you dash too early, then you will not get any speed at all, and for every frame that you dash too late, you lose a little bit of speed. From the next stages on, character choice is also going to be a thing. For the tutorials, you're forced to use Dustman. From this point on, I can actually use the other characters. This is Dust Girl. I'll be using her throughout a lot of stages. She is pretty identical to Dustman, except her light attack is slightly shorter, her heavy attack is slightly larger, and she starts falling slightly sooner. For the most part, they are interchangeable, so I picked Dust Girl because I like the way it looks. Then there's Dustworth. Dustworth is actually quite different. He has a higher jump, he has bigger attacks, but he is a bit slower in attack speed and stuff like that. He'll be used throughout the run a lot as well. There's one more character, DustKid. I'll only use her in like 2 places in the run, but I'll talk about her when the time arrives. For the moment, in this stage, I am actually going out of my way to pick up a certain number of dust so I can get a super attack at the end. Because in this stage, killing all of the enemies normally would be slower than to route out the dust. In case you're wondering how I make sure I have actually beat the stage before I exit, I know exactly which enemies have the end trigger attached to them, and you can tell by the slowdown, which also changes the sound a bit. Getting a bit of a lag here, it seems, but should be fine for the most part. From this point on, you also see a technique called heavy cancelling. Heavy attacks have a quite long animation, but they can be interrupted by jumping or dashing in midair. Or if you're on the ground, by pressing the dash and the heavy attack button at the same time. This used to be a technique that required 4 buttons, but now it only requires 2. So here in tunnels you have a whole lot more slope boosting, but you don't actually have access to slopes at every part of every stage. So when there are no slopes around, there are still techniques in order to go fast. That is called ground boosting. If you fall from a certain height, then when you land you get a little bit of a sliding animation, which gives you a bit of extra speed. So whenever you see me jumping and then dashing downwards, I'm setting up for a ground boost, and that you can also carry along with the dash rhythm. So these are spikes. They are not particularly deadly. That is a technique called spike jumping. Whenever spikes are at a 45-degree angle, you can just hold down and jump, and you can just bounce straight off of them. This remains true for surfaces that aren't spiked, but needless to say, it's more impressive when there are spikes on the surface. Also, you need to have spent your air charge in order for that technique to be an option. So this is Night Temple. This is probably the hardest stage in this zone, the forest zone. As you can tell by the increased number of spikes that are pretty much everywhere. None of them at 45-degree angles either, so I can't jump off of them. Fortunately, the overworld does quite a good job at gating off the levels that you aren't ready for with the overworld movement. As you saw with Night Temple, the overworld movement in order to get there was quite a hassle. And there you go. Very happy I got Night Temple Deathless. It's always nice to see. So later on in this zone, I'm gonna have to do an arena level. Every zone has one arena level where you actually have to kill all of the enemies. In this particular one, there's a unique enemy called the Porcupine, which shoots his spines, and they can be quite annoying, but they can also be quite helpful, because if you reflect them into other enemies, then you will actually be able to clean them instantly. So I'll be making use of that during that level. I explain this now because if all goes well, I will not have time to explain that during the level. So this is Ascent. There's a lot of climbing going on here, so needless to say, Dustforce is the preferred character of choice, because he is way better at climbing with his high jump. I also want to make sure I have a super again at the end of the stage, simply because the movement at the end of the stage is quite slow in order to get to the final enemy that has the trigger attached to him. There we go. So another new thing in this stage is a wall clip. There are certain places in the game where the geometry just allows you to clip through walls. This one is actually one of the more difficult ones. You actually have to jump into that corner quite a lot in order to actually clip through. But yeah, here's the stage I was talking about earlier, Wild Den. Let's see how it goes. Alright, didn't quite get these porcupine spines for all of the bears. But, oh, bear please. That was reasonable enough, I suppose. At least I got the start right. That's always nice. The start is the part of the level that you actually have to get right. Anyway, I just skipped like a third of the level with that fall down. They didn't actually put any death planes there, so you can just easily fall down. There's a lot of nice any percent strats for a lot of the levels. Nice skips. Here I'm also using a technique called dash jumping. Rather than using my mid-air charge on just a mid-air jump or a mid-air dash, I am hitting both at the same time in order to get the effect of both. Allows me to change direction really, really quickly. So this is Overgrown Temple. In this one I am actually going to gain a super, like build it up in a different way than just collecting dust, because you also get a bunch of meter from taking damage, and these totems do a lot of hits, so they're very nice to farm super on. Didn't quite have enough though, but there you go. Another spike jump on that. I missed it down dash there, that's a shame. This stage is mostly a whole bunch of ground boosting and slow boosting. go. And as for the forest area, we have Dustforce. In this stage, I could do it normally, or I could do a checkpoint warp, but the fastest method is still going over the top of the level. Home of the apple. I also make sure I align myself with the slope at the end right there in order to fall down as quick as possible. Get a bit of extra speed. There we go. So that's the forest area done, which leads us to mansion, which starts with atrium. Nobody likes atrium. I'm pretty sure I could just skip it in this run and nobody would mind. It's a very awkward stage for actually getting all the dust and doing it fast. But yeah, in the mansion you're gonna see a whole lot of Dustforce. There's a lot of flat surfaces and there's a lot of climbing going on. And the reason why Dustforce is good for flat surfaces is because he can ground boost from higher, which means the ground boost is faster. The levels in Mansion are also longer, so you might have time for a donation now. If there's any donations whatsoever.
Okay, we have a $20 donation from Furky Perky. This game looks pretty cool. Yes, it does.
Thanks, Furky. He is a part of the Dustforce community. Apparently he has never seen the game before though. There we go. Alright, so for this stage there is something more going on that I already did, just getting to it. It is a ceiling slide. If you climb a wall and it goes into a ceiling, if you like right on the corner you do a wall jump, then you get a whole bunch of speed going into it. So that is a really bad place to die. Come on. Haven't died there in ages. There's a really risky strat where I could just barely not touch those spikes and then do the super and actually hit everything. But if you die there, you lose a gigantic amount of time, so I didn't go for it. Few are actually crazy enough to go for that. Anyway, here on Night Hall it's mostly about the ground boosts. Unfortunately, I lost mine there. And next up is Ramparts, which is mostly a bunch of ground boosting and climbing, so Dustforce is the way to go. So if you have any more donations, now's the time.
Nope.
Oh, well.
Oh, never mind, we just got one.
Nice.
$50 from Animator Zed with no comments.
Thank you, Zed. He is probably one of my main rivals in any percent. We have very similar PBs and we were going for sub 43 and sub 42 respectively, like pretty much at the same time. He managed to beat me by a few seconds though. Damn it, Zed. Alright, so now I need to get to Moon Temple. That jump to get to it from the right is pretty damn tricky. The timing for that is really precise and your movement needs to be good as well. But here in Moon Temple we are going to introduce yet another new thing, which is the Death Warp. If I hit that checkpoint over there at the top, I can proceed to hit the checkpoint right here, hit the death plane, and then warp over to that checkpoint instead.
The main reason why you can't take the checkpoint down there first is because the checkpoints are overlapping, and so it's not activating the one that's under the beginning of the level checkpoint. So therefore you have to take the first checkpoint on top if you want to go down there.
Exactly. So here's the arena level for the mansion level. If all goes well, these should all be over relatively quickly. That book was being a bit of a bully though. Next up is a whole bunch of seating slides in order to get to tower, and I messed up the last one, naturally. You don't have to go all the way back down though. And tower is a pretty well designed level. You can use Dustforce to break it quite efficiently. Hey look, it's the end of the level. RIP. Right there I did something that I have actually been trying to get a lot of in the background. It's a small technique called a ledge jump. If you jump close to the ledge, you will actually kind of cancel the animation and get a lot more speed. You can also buffer those jumps, so for that one I needed a good one in order to get the ghost parapets, so I actually got a good ledge jump. Here you also see Dustforce for the first time. Unlike the others, Dustforce has 2 air charges, so she can do a triple jump or dashes and stuff like that. She doesn't jump as high though, and while her attack speed is high, her attack range is really, really short. There are some people who main Dustforce, like CriticalCyd, who donated earlier. But the main reason I use her here is so I can do that overworld movement to Observatory. She's also safer for ghost parapets. So in this stage I really needed to make sure I got all of those wall jumps at the start without accidentally wasting my air charge on a double jump, because I needed it in order to get to that part of the stage properly.
This was also one of the only levels where you can't actually recover from a death. It does not have checkpoints, you actually have to do the whole level at once.
Correct. There are a few levels like that. There's another one coming up in City called Clock Tower that I'm particularly scared of. It has killed many runs for me. Anyway, this is CriticalCyd Caves, and in this one I'm later going to use a feature of the super attack that I have not yet mentioned, because it actually gives you your air charge back, so you can get another jump from it. Right here. I only do that 2 times in a run though. But yeah, the rest of it is just going to be some ground boosting and slow boosting. So if there's any more donations, go ahead.
Yeah, Mansion is really the place where you need to ground boost the most in the entire run. It's full of levels with just straight lines basically.
Yeah, it's really flat around here. I could be doing a better job keeping this slow boost, but I'm getting a bit of slowdown now and there, here and there. It's kind of throwing me off. Anyway, much like Dustforce, I am actually going to go over the top of this level. It isn't actually much faster than doing it normally with Dustman or Dustgirl. Like, they are fairly close together, but I don't know, this strat looks fun. Looks more fun to me. Plus I like Dustforce. Yep. Now we go to library. I don't like library. It has books, and books are the devil. They are some of the hardest to predict and hardest to avoid enemies in the game. They could just kind of drop down on your head and eat you. Don't read. Books are dangerous. The ones that usually mess me up are around here. I need to get in at a good part of the pattern, and I did, so that was nice. And Courtyard is mostly going to be a whole lot more slow boosting and ground boosting, so Go ahead if there's anything you want to say, Mr. Donation Reader. Come on, guys. Bring in those donations.
Well, I will read donations if there were in the donations.
Mm-hmm.
So upcoming after this run is the, sort of this one is Dragon's Crown, which you can donate for which character they're going to use in the run. And currently the Sorceress Fighter is in the lead. So if you want to change that, you have to hurry up.
Alright, so that's mentioned done. That's probably the longest zone in the game. Next up we have City. I think City and Mansion are like in contest for being my favorite zone. Although the final one is pretty cool in its own way. This, by the way, is the level that I would recommend practicing slow boosting on. And just a general dash rhythm. It's really good for that. If you were to get into this game. There we go. Next up we have Landfill. In this one there's another nice wall clip that I can do. And after that I do a dash jump in order to make it over there. That wall clip was particularly easy. Oh, hello. You actually need to fall from a specific height, or a minimum height, in order to get through the dust blocks. Also, don't blink. There you go, that's CriticalCyd.
The way this clip works is literally just terrain structure. There's nothing except that in the game that makes you clip. So if you look at some terrain, at some of the levels, and you see a specific angle that looks kind of like what it clipped through, it's probably clippable as well.
Command. Alright, so in apartments I'm once again going to try to skip the vast majority of the level, this time by getting a good slow boost, so I'm gonna align for that there. Alright, made it. Barely. Ooh, and I get the 4 heavy, nice. This is Warehouse, this is one of my personal favorites. I like the ending shred a lot in order to get rid of all the enemies. And I'm gonna be very sad if I mess it up. Good enough. Still sub 18. I'll take that. So something we haven't really mentioned yet is why all of the levels are already open, and that's because this is a New Game Plus category. If I were to run New Game any %, I would actually have to collect all of the dust on every stage, and without losing my combo, which is called an SS rank. And at that point you might as well be running SS all levels, because the only ones that you would actually do any % strats for would be the difficulties at the end. Which are the last levels that you unlock, because normally they are all closed off with various tiers of keys. But yeah, because this is on a completed file, it allows for some really nice routing. This level is mostly about making that cycle over there. Oh, another clippy clip here, it zips me upward.
So we actually do have some donations now.
Go for it.
Another $10 from CriticalCyd. I missed commentating before. Good luck, Sid. We are united in our intense dislike of books and literature. Just remember the impact theme from Gorman and dash dash dash.
Thank you, Zed.
And also $1 from Soul Rees. Since no one other is willing to donate, then I will be the first one for this run. OP OP. Good luck with the run and keep dusting.
Thank you very much.
And
RIP. I hit the spikes there. Whenever you hit an enemy, you actually do gain a little bit of height. So right there, I gained just enough height in order to hit those spikes. Just kind of a shame. Alright. So I used to hate this level a lot, but I finally found some good strats for it, and it's pretty fun now. The movement is very fun, and now that the heavy cancels on the ground are significantly easier thanks to the DX patch. That one's also pretty fun. So this is Clock Tower that we mentioned earlier. Oh, it also doesn't have any checkpoints. I don't actually use the fastest character for this, that would be Dustforce, but I feel more comfortable as Dust Girl. And I kind of prioritize not dying over going fast here. So I play the character I'm comfortable with. Okay, nice. Didn't get clock blocked. Overworld movement is a bit iffy though. There we go. Oh. Sort of Concrete Temple messes me up now and then. Anyway, in Concrete Temple there is some more new stuff to introduce. So the hitbox of the characters aren't exactly complete. The bottom left of them, you actually cannot get damage there. So I use that in order to kind of get a wall run going on the top of that spike block. So I could do that skip. Here I need a decent ledge jump. The other thing we're gonna introduce here is standing on spikes rather than just jumping off of them. There we go.
Nice.
So that particular spike stand is 7 pixels, if I recall correctly. That's not too bad, which is why I actually go for it in runs. Most spike stands can only be done on the corner of a spike surface and are 1 pixels. They're also called dwarfs. I don't know many people who are crazy enough to go for some of those in runs, but I do know some.
Lotus.
Lotus. Alright, very nice alleyway.
Yeah, Lotus will just go for a few, like at least 2 dwarfs in a run without too much trouble.
Next up is Hideout. There's a lot of spikes here. This is usually the stage that people SS last, myself included. But it also has a lot of 45-degree angles, which means I can jump on the spikes. Here, once again, abusing the hitbox. It does skip a checkpoint though, so it's a bit risky. But ideally, you don't die anyway. Deathless runs of this game are incredibly rare, by the way. I don't know if there has ever been a deathless one. These golems at the end are bullies though. But hey, there we go. That was a good hideout.
And a donation time.
Yep.
We have a $10 from Traxleaf. Great run so far. Keep up the good work. Also, I'm reminded that Dustkid is in fact the best character in this game.
Alright, so that's Ferky again under his different name.
And $5 from Mr. Simon. I'm watching it work, not distracting at all. Dustforce is a fantastic game. Good luck on the difficulties.
Thank you very much.
And $1 from Lotus143. Keep up the good work. Glad to see such an awesome game ran at such an awesome event.
Thank you very much.
And Anonymous $1. Couch Sky is a boss. 1+ PogChamp. We actually don't have one on the couch, but it kinda looks like it, I suppose. And a $10 Anonymous. Finally a game about dusting. And also $1 more from Soul Reese. For the guy in the back, go to sleep. Resident Sleeper. He's already went to sleep, it looks like, so.
Alright, so thank you for all those donations, people. Much appreciated. All for a good cause. In the meantime, we have actually arrived at the final zone, or the final of the 4 main zones at least, which is the lab zone. A lot of short levels in this one again. Also, a few pretty damn difficult ones. So in this one we aren't exactly dusting as much as we are cleaning up the goop. This is another stage where I need to route out a super. Oh, nice security boost. Dash jumps there, and I make sure to pick up enough dust from that wall, that ceiling over there. Walls and ceiling, same thing. So I can have a super for those 3. Otherwise, that ending takes a lot of time. Oh, there we go. Nice slow boost. So yeah, obviously I've been using a lot of different characters during this run, but there are actually people that pretty much just main one character and kind of take the time loss because they more prefer the style of that character. There's people that only do Dustman, there's people that only do Dust Girl or Dust Kid. There's probably people that only do Dustworth, but I've never met those.
I think Donation only does Dustworth.
Donation,
Or at least primarily Dustworth.
primarily, alright. Also, I skipped the start of this level again with a nice ledge jump into some ceiling boosts.
I think Ted only does Kid and Worth as well. I think he did a few on Man, but most of his top 10s where no other character is played is Dustworth.
So in this one we are once again gonna go over the top. They made a nice little path here. Need to make sure I don't do any high jumps or I hit my head on those spikes. The slimes got me again. I'm so bad at recognizing that pattern of those slimes. This overworld movement is a pain in my ass. There we go. Those gates are really awkward. There are more of these gates in the stage itself, but I have a plan for those. In this zone, the spikes have been replaced with electric wire. Anyway, spike jump time. Nice.
It looks so good.
I love that strat so much. It looks amazing. There we go. That's a pretty good backup shift. Alright, containment. Angerville actually helped me out with this yesterday, so hopefully I'll do it right. Oh, nope, I messed it up. In this stage I actually purposely get hit a bunch again in order to farm the super. Slow recovery too. This is probably my least consistent arena level, least favorite too. So in this stage I actually don't use the optimal character either. There has been like not too long ago actually, a strat found for the other characters really that once again involved getting hit in order to route out a super. But you have to be really quick in order to do that properly. Also, I need a proper ceiling slide here. Movement to core tempo can be a bit of a pain. But there we go. Oh.
Any donations moment?
After this stage. So in this one, there's once again a clip out later on. But there's really a lot of cool strats in this. This is once again one of my favorite stages, like this strat right here. Just dash down and heavy those buggers. And then here you kind of get out of bounds, clip through this, clip through that, and then the ending strat, the spike jumps.
Nice.
Very nice. Glad I got that first try. Alright, now it's good for donations.
Alright, and first off we have $5 from Stevie Pone. Donating towards getting that resident sleeper back to a pillar or something. And also $10 from Propsic. Very impressive gameplay and for a good cause too. Keep up the good work. And $10 from Shines. Take this 10 and buy resident sleeper there some coffee. Or at least let him sleep on the couch. And another 10 from MSG555. Everyone loves Dustforce. And $20 from my boy. What dust stops must get clean. While my feet don't touch the ground, seeing the world spinning upside down. A mighty vacuum without a sign. Dustforce heroes. That was
you,
a
my boy.
Sonic reference.
Hey, there we go.
Nice.
Fell through the spikes in one go. That can be a bit of a tricky strat sometime. Oh. Yeah. Movements of Dome has been known to give me problems in the past. I need to actually hit the dash button right as I hit that. There we go. This is the final lab stage. After this we are going to the infamous difficulties, which unlock after you've assessed every main stage. And that is where the real fun begins. Before that though, we have a relatively new trick where you can change your character there and then exit to the main nexus, and hey, you will be that character. Switch to Earth fast. So yeah, that's the Twinkie. Lost the slow boost there, but that's okay. So now, the infamous difficulties, home of many spikes. They are, however, also the most broken stages in the game. Needed a good ledge jump for that, so I buffered it. Once again, shoutouts to Lotus for this level. This is his baby. He still only plays Dustman on here, but he has like implemented, I think, three dwarves now into that level. Yep. So right here I am trying to set up for a trick called the Terra drop. Slightly too much to the right. I'm trying to fit in between a 3 pixel gap between the spikes. My consistency with this is all over the place, really. And since my own computer lags a bunch, the timing for this can be different, because this is quite a laggy stage at the start. That should be it. There we go. And that's Terra difficult. Why go through the stage normally when you can do that? That was still way faster than doing it normally. Or probably not way anymore, but still faster. Also, yeah, these two stages are designed particularly well again. The ending is quite close to where you spawn.
They're just asking for it.
They're asking for it. And now we go into Giga Difficult Any %, which is my favorite Difficult Any %, because it looks really cool. Let's jump here. Deathless, nice.
Very nice.
No giggles.
So this stage once again has a death warp right here. So gotta make the checkpoint and then hit the spikes.
Reminder that we don't know what Giga walls are in this run.
Yeah. Those walls at the end of Giga are quite a pain when it comes to assessing, but yeah, just skip them. So this is Zeta. Go ahead and explain Zeta and Maple sliding, please, for me, coach, because I gotta focus on this one.
Basically what you want to do in this level is dash the nearest, well, at the very end of the slope, and then hold up so that you gain the most speed. You can actually gain too much speed and die on the top spike, but that's actually really, really precise, so you're almost never going to get that. What you want to do is dash as fast as possible. So if you don't get enough speed, like you just did right there, what you can do to recover is actually just do a spike jump and then just like hit the other prism, because that will give you another jump as well.
Most people would consider that just getting to the first checkpoint to be the hardest part of the level, just because that first slope is so difficult to actually get to the top on, especially without Maple sliding. But with Maple sliding, it becomes a lot easier.
Right.
But then you still have to like time the jump and hit the prism to get up to the checkpoints. It's a tough start.
So what Maple sliding was what you hold up so that your character does not actually run on the wall. And near the very end of the boost on the wall, you start holding up plus the direction where you want to go, and so the character runs and you gain a little bit of distance on that. Makes the beginning of the time way more consistent.
So at the start there you saw him just jump into the spike wall and over a bunch of other spikes and then do another death warp. So the checkpoint is quite lenient, so you can hit it from beyond the wall, and then he died to actually get warped to it.
Not sure where my speed went there. Anyway, yeah, this is Yada difficult, the hardest and most broken stage in the game. Start of it didn't go quite well, all that well, but here we have another Terra drop. That was too far to the right. Too far to the left.
So it's the same drop you've seen a few levels before. This one has a little slope so you can set it up, so it shouldn't be as bad, but it's still 3 pixels, so it's still really, really hard to get.
I wonder why I practiced this even, 'cause it's clearly not working.
If you were to do this section legit, it would take you a long time probably, because it's very, very difficult.
Yeah.
There you go.
Nice.
Alright, so a couple more spike jumps here. Gotta make sure I hit that one low enough so I can actually make it through that. And this Yada is actually a train wreck. The rest of the run was fine, so... Anyway, clip through that, hit it, die here, which brings us to this secret. Say hi to Gordon Freeman. And that brings you to the next checkpoint.
So the reason why it actually advances you from one checkpoint is that you're not supposed to get there from the previous checkpoint. So it gives you the Gordon Freeman checkpoint and then gives you the checkpoint that was where you were supposed to be when you actually got to the secret. So it makes you skip one checkpoint.
Right here he's going for a blind drop and he wants to land on the platform or at least hit checkpoints.
Wonder why I'm not getting it. I'm not hitting any dust here.
It's not a very wide platform that he has to hit, so even with a setup you can still mess it up quite easily.
That should make good. Why? Okay, there
Okay,
we go.
got the
I
checkpoints.
still hit the checkpoint. Cool.
Here we have some more Zeta slopes.
Worth
It's
is exactly the best for the Zeta
Yeah.
slopes. So there was a good opportunity that I wouldn't have even made it through that final spike gap, but it worked out.
You might get really on time. If you get it.
go.
Nice.
So what was that? Oh!
Not bad. Not bad.
45-02. Rips up 45. Still, I'm very, very happy with that time. It's just kind of a shame I messed up Zeta and Yada as much as I did.
Yada is just a
But
very difficult level,
They're the most difficult stages for me.
and not many people have assessed Yada.
Yeah,
I think that's 84 people now.
I think so, yeah, compared to the thousands who have assessed the first level.
Yeah.
A lot actually assessed Yoda like not long ago, which was really funny.
Yeah, it was just like a big burst of players.
I think a few, like 2 months ago maybe, we were around 50.
Something like that,
Something,
yeah.
yeah.
There's been a real surge of it, like Valkyrie and myself included. Did it recently. Anyway, you guys also donated for a custom map showcase. Actually, my good friend Melrose soloed that donation incentive, so thank you very much, Melrose23, for that. So let's show off some custom maps. Let's play some Osu. There is quite a active map making community. There's probably a new map daily. This game has a really good map editor, and people can do some really creative stuff with it. And in order to show that I can actually be a proper janitor and clean things, I am gonna try to at least get S completion on it, and if I can, a double S rank. What the ranks mean, since we didn't bother explaining it since it doesn't matter for any percent, but you get the completion S rank and the finesse S rank. Completion speaks for itself, gather all the dust, and finesse means the combo. You can lose your combo by going too slow, by getting hit, or by dying. So I need to basically get good in order to get that.
There was a bit of issues in the older versions of Dustforce. There was like a few levels where you didn't need all the dust to gain completion. And there was also a glitch, which is actually patched in this version, which was if you quit the level before you hit the last enemy, so that basically you hit him as the level fades out, you would get SS. Well, you would get S finest. And so your completion plus S finest, but it wouldn't be actually uploaded to any leaderboard.
Yep. Anyway, in this map, my ability to jump is actually locked, which is a nice little feature from the old version's tutorial. So basically, as soon as I lose my speed, I'm pretty much boned. But yeah, the only way you can gain height here is by doing those attacks on the blobs themselves. And I do kind of want to assess this stage. There we go. But yeah, I can mash the jump button as much as I want. I'm just not able to jump, so I have to get all of my height from other things. Ooh.
That was pretty good. Nice.
There it is.
There we go. Let's see, which other one should I show off? Oh right, this one I really like, despite being pretty difficult, but I really like what he did with all the filters here. It looks really pretty. This start is evil though. Ah, rip.
People can make some very evil maps.
Yeah, for sure. There's even stuff like John Cena difficult.
Oh my god, no. Some of the maps are even evil for the stream and not the player. Like, I think there's one in the community map pack, Love Climb or something, which literally kills your stream when you start playing it.
Yeah. There we go. Didn't quite get SS on that. Let's see. I'm sure Twitch chat will love this map.
Oh god.
Is this tutorial extended? This is... Oh yeah. This is pretty much memes the map. But this is an altered version of the tutorial of the original Dustforce. Like, have fun
And
with
Rick
that.
chat.
Have fun with that Twitch chat. And he basically added a whole bunch of extra spikes and everything and memes to it. And upside down people. Gems are truly outrageous. There we go. Not sure why that guy is upside down. He just is. Just roll with it. Not sure why this guy is suddenly Einstein, but he just is. Ah, I should have jumped there. That was a really silly mistake. That's usually how you lose your SS runs, with the really silly mistakes that you will normally make. But boom, and baby, boom. Give me super,
Right.
please. There we go. And we might have time for one more, maybe.
Infinity?
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
the best stock map in the game.
No.
Hmm?
No.
Nah, I'm
No
gonna do this.
Infinity.
Nah, I'm not gonna do Infinity. Infinity is a secret map in the map editor. The command to make it show up is execute function ruin a user. It is just straight up evil. But yeah, I'm gonna show off this map. I personally really like it. Just the way it looks and the way it plays, although apparently I'm quite bad at it now. There we go. But yeah, while I'm doing this, I would like to give a gigantic shout out to the entire Dustforce community. There's a lot of active people working on this game. Most of the competition in this game is in individual levels. You won't see that much single segment runs like I do today. But yeah, they're a very active and welcoming community. If you have any questions whatsoever about wanting to get better at Dustforce, you can just hop in the IRC on the Speedruns Live IRC, and you can bet your ass that somebody will be able to help you. And usually when somebody is streaming Dustforce, you can bet there's at least one person from the community lurking. They're very supportive people. So even though I lurk a lot myself, thank you for being awesome people. And yeah, that's Dustforce, and I missed Dust, damn it! Yeah, that emotion right there is a good way to leave Dustforce on. So thank you everyone for watching, and I hope you enjoyed.
Yes.